Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Kima, and we are on the third part of Vincent's office makeover. Today we're going to be focusing on upcycling his desk that we thrifted for $20. And I'm just showing you the overview of what it looks like currently. As I mentioned before, I'm going for a mid-century modern interior design style in this office. So a bunch of wood, a bunch of black, very moody, also very comfortable at the same time. I love the dark and the wood together, so you will see that repeat throughout this entire makeover. I'm going in first with my Benzer 123 primer, and I'm going to give this desk 2 coats of this primer. It doesn't have to be perfect, we just need something for the paint to stick to. I'm using black onyx by Color Place. I got this from Walmart. It's some of the cheapest paint, and it's good paint that you can buy. And I'm just going to set my little space up so I can go ahead and start painting this desk. I'm mixing my color up, and I'm going to use the top as my roller instead of getting out a tray and pouring the paint out. That's too much for me. So I'm just going to use my top, and I'm just going to apply this black matte paint throughout the whole thing. I'm gonna give it 2 coats. I'm gonna sand in between it drying so that it has a smooth finish. Now I'm going in and I'm going to tackle the top and the backs and the sides and the underbelly of it, because this desk is going to be seen from 3 sides of it. The whole thing really needs to be made over, whereas it being pushed up against the wall, only the front needs to be made over. But now the backs and all the sides and the fronts and all under it needs to be made over. A 360 full round view of it needs to be made over for it to look good in the space. So we're just going to cover this thing in black.
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings.
I'm using the same Valspar base mixed with Sherwin-Williams doe eyes that I have used throughout the whole house as color blocking for these 2 back parts that are going to be seen when you walk into the room.
Even when I've been screwed, dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test. I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said?
Now we're about to work on the keyboard holder, and I've already given it a coat of paint using the Valspar and the Sherwin-Williams doe eyes. And this is where I messed up. I went in with this Minwax stain, which is one of my favorite stains. I'll link it down below. And I started covering the keyboard with this stain with a sponge up and down, because I wanted to use this tool set that I got off Amazon, which helps add faux wood grains. But I believe that the stain isn't really the product to use this tool on. I think it would work better with paint. I'll have to try it again. So what I did was I just went back with that sponge and just buffed it all back out to make it smooth again. And I wanted to go in with these other tools just to see what happens with these, but I just ended up doing the faux wood finish that I do with the broom and the deck staining brush. These are the ones that I used this big part on, and it did not turn out right. I don't know if I should not be using stain, because I use stain instead of paint, but I used paint on the other side of the desk and it didn't work out either. So I don't know. So I attached the doors back on, and I'm going to touch up the trim of it, and then we're going to attach the keyboard back and make sure that's secure in there. We're going to do another layer of the top coat, but this time we're going to add the black paint into the mix of the Minwax polyacrylic to tint the polyacrylic. If you want to paint something and put a top coat on it, just mix the top coat and a little bit of the paint and it'll look perfect. My hair is getting bigger and bigger. But we're going to go in and we're going to make some trim for the sides of the desk. This trim that I bought from Architectural Savage Place is actual mobile home wall trim. It was so cheap. It's much cheaper than regular trim, and it has wood in it. It's just wrapped in this paper, so you can take the paper off, but I just paint over the paper or whatever. We can do the shaker where it's one long and it meets here and at the bottom, or we can do it picture frame where we cut it at an angle. I think I'm gonna do picture frame because that's more mid-century modern to me. So I'm gonna take my measuring tape and I'm gonna measure this. And this is 23 3/8. All right, now that we have our measurements on, I know you can't see it because it's kind of bright. I got one here, 23 3/8. Our miter shears, they cut at angles and they also cut straight. So I'm going to cut a straight line at the 23 3/8. Y'all see how easy that cuts that? And I'm going to cut one right here as well. How easy? I did cut it a little long just to give me some room for mistake. And I think I can cut it down some, and then we're going to cut it at an angle, and that's going to be that, honey.
seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine.
Alright guys, so now that you've seen it, I know it was kind of hard to film because it's like facing this way and it's not any natural light hitting it. It's kind of fighting against it in the background, but as you can see, it looks like a totally different desk. I think I did a great job. This desk has been finished for like 2 weeks. I'm just now getting around to filming it. Which we have had a mess happen. This paneling, he broke the paneling off of it. I should have filmed it with the desk facing the wall, so I could like do a better job revealing it to you. I think it turned out quite well. One thing I do like is the mattness, and I also use a wax on it all the time. Well, I've only did it twice since I've done it, and it gets out any scuffs or any marks. Yeah, and then the back of it with the two-tone, because I know people will see it from this angle, so that's why I painted the back of it as well. I think that looks so good. I feel like that's more mid-century modern. The doors I feel like I could have did better on because I used a wood stain instead of using a paint, because I was initially trying to use that little wood staining tool, but it just wasn't working the way I needed it to work. It doesn't look bad, but it could have been better if I used paint instead of wood stain. Alright, so this is what it's looking like now. Oh my goodness, do y'all remember what it used to look like? Of course you do, because I've already shown you probably. It's coming together, okay?